podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Achtung Millwall. Broadcasting from beautiful South Bermondsey, it's the #1 Millwall podcast. Accept no substitute.
Good Monday morning to you, dear listeners. It's Monday morning with Merv in the wake of Saturday's win. A mix of disappointment and elation. Millwall were back in the Championship playoffs for the first time in 25 years. Joining me to chew over the cud of Championship playoff matters in general is the man himself. It's Merv Payne. Merv, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Yeah. Saturday was a bit weird, wasn't it?
It was an odd day. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I compared it to 2009, 2010 season when we had an outside chance of finishing second in League One. We were behind Leeds.
Yeah.
And I think on the last day we played Swindon at home and Leeds were away to Bristol Rovers. And if Leeds lost and we won, we'd nick second place. And I think we were losing and then drawing at half time and Leeds briefly went behind. But again, on that day, we never really actually thought we were in with a chance because Leeds won the game and then it all sort of fizzled out. And we were left to finish third into the playoffs, which we won. So, but yeah, Saturday, I thought in a way it was quite merciful for it to be all over after 9 minutes in a way.
Well, it was such a frenzied atmosphere. And I personally, I know it's easy in hindsight to say this, Merv, but it was always a long shot because we didn't control what Ipswich could do. Yeah. And they were, they were
in your hands. And there's no point.
A decent side against a very mediocre QPR opponent who got nothing in it. And, I never thought that they would do anything there. So I always thought that it would finish with us in the playoffs, which is kind of where it was. But there was such a frenzy of excitement, electricity in the den. I mean, it was electric in there. At the start, and I just thought there's too many people believing that we're going to do it today. For comfort, because it was always a long shot. But there we are.
I think, and as soon as we saw the QPR team they put out with no strikers and a handful of youth players, and when Ipswich scored in the 3rd minute, you thought, well, where this goes.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't finish up more. I thought it was going to be a cricket score at one point.
Yeah. So I think then what was my concern then was that things went flat at the Den.
Yeah.
Because obviously because by then we'd sort of slipped down the league table a bit because we were still at 0-0.
Yeah.
While other teams were winning. Then you're thinking, we don't want Southampton in the playoff semi-finals. Ideally, we want 3rd place. So then that became what was in our destiny was to make sure we win this game so we can finish 3rd, and we did, which was great. So I think we actually finished it on a high. Rather, what I didn't want is I think the worst scenario would have been for Ipswich QPR to be 0-0 throughout the game, us to be 2-0 up, and then for Ipswich to score deep into injury time, which
to take that deflationary kind of quality.
We never felt that. We never felt like second place had been snatched from us. It was never there for the taking. And you can stare at the points totals all summer if you want, but it ain't going to change it. 1 point, it is gutting to miss out by 1 point, but it happens all the time, and any number of teams could say, oh, well, if we'd not conceded a late equaliser here, or if we'd beaten those when we were 2-0 up, everyone can say that. So you've just got to move on.
People online saying about this game or that game. You've had, I saw a silly Charlton fan coming on saying, Pete, we drew at the Valley. Well, you can go through the whole 46 game programme and say, well, if we'd have got a win there, or we've got more there, then...
Yeah. My personal bugbear is the injury time equaliser at Oxford. Really, that was one of those moments when you saw that go, when you think, "Oh, we might regret that in the season." But that's football, If that sort of thing didn't happen, there wouldn't be that many people who bothered about it. It would just be boring.
You got that. You've got the home losses to the likes of Blackburn and Norwich came and turned us over, didn't they? And there's some silly points, but then we've got some magnificent points. So you can't go down that road too far.
Oh, getting a point at Ipswich, it's pointless. We just need to focus on these playoffs.
What you can focus on, listeners, is the fact we finished in 3rd position, which I'm just looking at the Mill History website, Merv. We finished 3rd in 93-94. We're going to come on in a moment to our checkered record in the Championship playoffs. in the past, but that's our highest position then since 1993-94 under Mick McCarthy. And 83 points. I mean, obviously we've had 3 points since the early 80s now, but I think that's one of our highest in championship terms. We've got more in League One, but that's obviously a lower down. It certainly is a highest since 88, 87, 88, I believe, the promotion season. That was 82 when we won the championship. So, yeah, it's a massive achievement.
I think we played 2 less games then, didn't we? I think it was a weird sort of 44-game season then.
Yeah, that's right. When they're changing the numbers in the top flight or something.
Yeah. The playoff numbers are quite interesting. This is going to be the 40th time the playoffs have been played.
Right.
And they started back in 86, 87. And this will be the 9th time Millwall featured in them, which I was quite surprised. So we appeared in almost a quarter of the playoff
in League
campaign.
One and championship terms. Yeah.
In just that too. And as you say, our record, certainly initially, was woeful. It took us 9 attempts to win a playoff game. And the first, I obviously listeners of a certain age will remember the first campaign clearly. 1991, we had a great season and a great opportunity to go up because it was 4 teams were being promoted because they were extending the top division.
That's right.
Back to, we had what I still think was probably one of our best squads ever. We had a 38-goal Teddy Sheringham. We had Malcolm Allen. Players like that, and yet we had a little blip in the season, and it meant that Oldham, West Ham, Sheffield Wednesday finished in the top 3. Then it was the playoffs after that. We played Brighton. We played Brighton, who we'd already beaten in the season.
Yeah,
and obviously took the lead at Brighton, thinking we were Wembley bound, and lost 4-1, and that was that. So
I'd forgotten actually because it's 1990 to 91 season. What's that? That's 34 years ago, really, isn't it? 35 years ago. And I've forgotten how our form, we were going so well. We beat Charlton 3-1 in the April of 91. Looking good for, automatic. And then we kind of tail off somewhat, don't we? We've got losses at Port Vale, at home to Port Vale. 2-1. This is all at Coldblow Lane, kids. We've drawn at Hull. Then we got beat by Notts County at home again. Good win at Bristol, 4-1. But then we get beat by Sheffield Wednesday before the final league game, which is Blackburn. And then, of course, this disastrous 2-legged affair at Brighton. That was the old Goldstone ground as well, Merv.
It was a bizarre game because and I remember I couldn't get a ticket because obviously the little ground didn't hold much.
No,
so I wasn't actually there, and it was on the radio, and we took the lead. We dominated at the start of the game. I think Paul Stevenson gave us the lead, and
that's right.
We looked absolutely like we were coasting to a place to a day out at Wembley, and a good chance of getting promoted. And suddenly Brighton hit us with like 4 goals in the second half in quick succession, and it was. And again, you talk about things like being in your hands, or about these sort of pressure games at the Den, and we still thought that if we could get an early goal in the second leg, we'd be in with a chance.
Which we did. I was there.
And then 2 minutes later, I think a corner came over, and I think it was David Thompson headed it in, and the place went absolutely berserk. We were thinking,
it was McGinley. John McGinley got the goal, 16 minutes.
John McGinley got the first goal. I thought it was a bit earlier than that, but so for a few brief seconds, we thought we'd reduced the deficit to 1 with still like an hour of the game to go, and referee disallowed the goal.
It
was still 4-2, and the game went totally flat. I remember that just the life just got sucked out of it, and Brighton ended up scoring 2 and winning it. It was that first really harsh experience of what the playoffs can do, and how you can't. I've sort of scribbled down a few playoff myths that we sort of kid ourselves will work in our favour. One of them being, how you did against the teams in the league means absolutely nothing when you play
nothing in the playoffs. No. It was a very strange game because didn't Bruce Rioch change our tactics defensively, and we go down there with I think we changed to a 5-man defence or something like that down at Brighton, which was.
I know that. I know McCarthy definitely did that in the next one because we played in the 93-94 campaign. We played, and we'd had
maybe that one. And
we went to Derby. I think we'd drawn twice 0-0 within the season,
Yeah.
And again, we were letting 2 quick goals, and we had give ourselves a mountain to climb, which we didn't. Which we lost the second leg at the Den 3-1,
Yeah.
and that after finishing third. And I've scribbled down again another myth is it all depends where you finish. But I mean, in all their campaigns, Millwall have literally finished in every possible different position you can finish in the playoffs. We finished third, fourth, fifth, sixth, with varying results. We finished third when we got beat by Derby, and the last one we played in 16-17, we scraped in on the last day with that win at Bristol Rovers, scraped into 6th place and ended up winning them. So
Yeah.
there's very little sort of rhyme or reason to them. They are all bets are off, and they are just as people say a total lottery, really.
I've got a press report from. I mean, obviously we managed to collapse to a 4-1 loss, listeners, at the Goldstone Ground, having led from Paul Stevenson. But then I've got a Daily Mirror, press report from the Thursday, because the return leg was played on the Wednesday night at Coldblow Lane.
That's right. Yeah.
I was there for that one, and the wording of the report is so suitably tabloid, Merv. I mean, it's just almost like an art form of the type, really. Lions tamed, the end of the Lions, it says here. Nigel Clark, Mill's first division dream died an agonising death at the Den of Despair last night.
Den of Despair. I love all that. Yeah, it was. They just try out all the old cliches.
Mate. Brighton slammed the gates of Wembley shut in their faces. It's almost like saliva dripping from the mouth as he wrote this stuff.
Almost certainly, most 95% of that report was written before.
Yes,
well before the game, and he knocked off early. Went straight to the pub.
Robert Codner was the villain of both games. He was the
Codner. It's all these ghosts from our pub. Robert Codner, Brighton's odd pink kit, and their Nobbo
striped shorts. Didn't they have a striped shirt and striped shorts? It was one of the weirdest combos.
It was. Seen. It only added even more insult to the defeat, really. But and then Brighton went on to lose to Notts County, to Neil Warnock's Notts County in the final, so it could have all been irrelevant anyway.
Yeah,
but it was a real bizarre, painful sort of introduction to the playoffs for Millwall.
At the final whistle, the police had to usher away thousands of disappointed Millwall fans. Oh dear, this is at Coldblow Lane. There we are. Let's leave it. Oh, and also, it's highly likely now that Teddy Sheringham would leave us, because obviously we wouldn't be making the swift return back to the top flight that we all hoped for.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments that he went missing in those 2 games, and it was, I say he got 38 goals that season. God knows, I lost count of how many hat tricks he scored. He destroyed teams, and we thought he was our secret weapon for the playoffs. And he didn't turn up, and there was rumours that the deal was already being done with Brian Clough at Nottingham Forest, and which again was a shame.
So it was. There it is. So we move on to our second excursion into Championship level playing football. Merv, another unhappy experience. There's not much happiness in this storyline, listeners. Our best finish, third, although that was with 74 points. So we have topped it this season with 83. This was under Mick McCarthy. Average attendance this season, Merv, just shows you how things have advanced. The new Den, as we still call it, had opened that season, but the average attendance was 9,800. That was our average.
I noticed that before, and then this year we're doing 17. It's amazing,
17,000. So there we are. But we would finish third in the table, taking us to a double header against Derby County. Again, very unhappy experience. A 2-0 loss up there at would that be the baseball ground, or would they have their new ground? I think it might have been the baseball ground.
No, I'm pretty sure it was the baseball ground. Then I'm sure. I remember. Because it was televised live on ITV. I'm sure I remember watching it.
I don't think the new one was built to the late early 2000s.
Yeah.
So the baseball ground. How about that, kids? Leading to a return leg, which was a most unhappy night at the 10-3-1 home loss amidst mayhem. We won't dwell on the mayhem side of it, but it was a poor game. We just never got going in this double header, Merv, did we? This one?
No. Again, it was just disappointment, and again, one of those things where you think you've got a chance based on what you've done against that team in the league, and it seems like a completely different team turns up to play you. Yeah, and it's just bizarre.
Well, this is a lineup. The second leg, which we would lose 3-1 amidst scenes, shall we call it. Casey Keller, Kenny Cullen, some great names here, Merv.
Yeah,
Cullen,
again, a really,
Richard
really good start.
Huxford, long
Yeah,
forgotten names. This is
yeah,
what we try and do on this show. We try and name names. Richard Huxford. Can't think of many times I've ever said his name, but Richard Huxford, Terry Hurlock on his unfortunate second stint with us.
yeah.
Never quite took off. Pat Van Den Howe, wow, was the central defender. Keith Stevens, Alex Ray, what a team.
It was a great,
Malcolm
yeah,
Allen, Jamie
a great.
Morley, um, Dave Mitchell, and Greg
Mm.
Berry, and then on the subs, Paul Kerr. I used to like Paul Kerr,
Yeah,
John
Paul Kerr
Goodman,
was
and
great.
Jimmy Carter. Names from the past. Just a single Greg Berry goal. Gave us that one goal in the two-legged affair. Otherwise, it was just a 5-1 aggregate win for Derby, including an own goal from Pat Van Den Howe. There we are. So that's happiness leading to a sock on the jaw, I suppose you'd call that particular game. And we can't not mention this subject without probably a sock on the jaw with a gut punch as well, which was the 2001-2 season. Again, we flirted with good times there because we were going quite well. In third position for large chunks. They're going to
Yeah,
second position, I see. This was the Steve
yeah. Well,
Clary
again,
season, wasn't it?
yeah, it was the old Millwall injury jinx. I think really did for us that season because going into the new year, we were looking really good for second place.
Yeah,
And Richard Sadlier was on fire up front. Tim
that's right.
Cahill was doing well.
Yeah,
And then I think about February, March time, we lost Sadlier for the rest of the season.
that's right.
Cahill missed a crucial few games. And we said at this little spell where I think we lost 2 or 3 on the bounce. I think we lost to both Sheffields in the space of like 4 days.
We
We
brought
got
Dion
Dion
Dublin
Dublin
in,
in.
didn't we?
Dion Dublin in, who did well. He got way numbers and goals. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, second place was definitely achievable that season without a doubt. We played Birmingham over 2 legs. Yet again, we have what's perceived to be the advantage of playing a home leg second.
yeah.
But I mean, back then I think we got battered 4-0 at Birmingham in the league and drew 1-1 with them at home. But
Well, that 1-1 draw, the away
yeah,
leg, there on
one
that's,
in the away league. Yeah,
that's our
Dublin
best ever
scored.
result in Championship playoff football, Merv.
Yes,
That's as good
yeah,
as it gets.
yeah. Because for the first time at this level, we were bringing all we really wanted was to bring the team back to the Den with a chance of,
A
say
shot.
having it in your own hands,
Yeah,
to have a shot, and to not have a big mountain to climb. And we did just that. We got a really good draw away, and I think we made the fatal error of assuming that the hard work was done.
yeah,
And that night at the Den, that chance that Dion Dublin missed, I think will
yeah.
live with any fans who were there forever.
Well, it's reminiscent of the Paul Gascoigne miss in the
Yes,
Euros, the West Germany,
yeah,
is it? As they
yeah.
were when you think
Come
what
across
if? Because
the
I think
goal.
that was golden. Was that golden goal? I can't
It was
remember.
golden goal. Yeah, I
And
think.
that would
Or
have
was it? Hang on,
done it.
I'm not sure.
This
No, I
wouldn't
think
have
we
been
would
the playoff
have.
wouldn't have been, but the World Cup game was. But you're
Well,
right.
sorry, the World Cup. Yes. Or the Euros. It was the Euro semi against Germany.
Euros,
Euro 94
Euros.
against
Sorry,
Germany.
yeah, mixing up
Yeah,
the
so that was
tournaments.
the golden goal.
But the
This, yeah,
playoffs,
I mean,
that was in real time. That was in it was in because we didn't go to extra time, and it
no,
was,
we assumed we were going to go to extra time and maybe
yeah,
penalties, and then John stepped up, and that
yeah.
was it. And I'll never forget the unmistakable sound of seats sort of being folded back as people stormed out in despair. And by now, I mean, obviously we didn't, because it was at League One level, but a couple of years earlier we'd played Wigan in the playoffs and
That's right.
or 0-0 at home in the first leg and lost away. So by now we're beginning to absolutely loathe the playoffs, because by now we'd not won a single game in 8 attempts, and we were
I've
starting to
never
think
entirely lost my what's the word? Despisement. That's not a word, is it? But the fact I can't bear the playoffs. I think it would have been, obviously automatic promotion is always the key, but I just can't shift it. They're just fraught, and there's something very very Millwall about this overpowering weight that you seem to shoulder in big game football, particularly, but the playoffs, I suppose.
Yeah, I
As
remember when
big
they
as we
came in,
get.
I thought, they're great for the neutral, but I remember, so I was about 13, 14 in the first season.
Yeah,
I thought, I really don't want to see my Millwall win them, because you got the prospect of losing to an arch rival like a Palace or West Ham in the final to get to not go up and watch them celebrate promotion at your expense. I really didn't fancy that.
no.
And I was quite happy to watch everyone else's misery as a neutral. But of course, they're a necessary evil, and now we're up to our necks in them.
Yeah, we won't dwell on the press coverage of the events of
No.
May the 2nd, 2002. Listeners, you have to look it up yourself if you really want that. I think we've done it to death over the years. It didn't work out well for us. That was a late winner for Stern John in the last minute, as they say. And that was that. So we've got pretty checkered history at this level. I mean, obviously, we kind of got the piano off our back in the league. Was it who did we beat to get to Swindon? Was it Scunthorpe? We beat them home and away, didn't we?
No, to get to the final with Swindon,
yeah,
we drew at Huddersfield away and then beat them at home.
Huddersfield,
really,
the famous night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we got
the
past Leeds the season before.
Yeah, Leeds at home was our very first playoff win. But again, we went to the second leg with 1-0. We thought it's nowhere near enough to take to Ellen Road. They were a strong side, and they got a penalty early on, which
famous Jimmy Abdou equaliser,
and then the absolutely legendary Jimmy Abdou equaliser, which got us to Wembley. And again, we thought the hard work was done. We thought Leeds were the obstacle in the playoffs, and we played Scunthorpe in that final with like the best goal Wembley's ever seen.
Yeah,
wasn't enough to win it for us, and we lost 3-2, which was gutting. But yeah, I mean, we finally sort of broke the hoodoo of not actually winning a game, and then obviously the following year we went and won them.
Yeah,
beating Swindon in the final, and I think perhaps started to maybe tolerate them a bit more after that because we had a bit of a repetition.
Well, I think just to get a win under our belts and then a Wembley win against Swindon.
It
felt like you'd shaken something off because there was this thing that Millwall couldn't do playoffs, and it was the truth of the matter, we hadn't. So, and then of course you got the famous Bradford Steve Morrison winner, which again felt after a couple of unhappy trips to Wembley.
Yeah, it's funny. History repeated itself. In 8, 9, and 9, 10, we went to the final and lost. And I remember in Mike Calvin's book, he was in the dressing room afterwards, and Kenny Jackett basically said, "Think about next season.
Yeah,
think about how crap you feel now, and use that as your motivation to come back and go better next season," which they did. And then, of course, under Neil Harris, we got to the final after beating Bradford really well in the semi-final. We got beat by a really strong Barnsley team. We had some really strong loan players at the time. I seem to remember that we were well beaten 3-1 at Wembley. Then.
That's right.
Then we went back the following year and we did it again. But I say we did it by sneaking into 6th place on the last minute, really.
Yeah, I often wonder what's the best way to go into the playoffs. Is it that kind of sneaking in through the back door kind of idea, or as we've
sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it worked out great for us. Then we played Scunthorpe, who were in the top 2 for most of the season. We drew at home 0-0 and thought we'd blown our chance. We went 1-0 down in the second leg and thought, we definitely had it. And suddenly we were 3-1 up and on our way to Wembley again. And yeah, sometimes it works when you sneak in. Sometimes it doesn't. I think Bristol City sneaked in 6th place last season, got battered by Sheffield United. Sometimes it doesn't really work. But I think, it's one of these myths. It doesn't really matter. People talk about momentum, making Southampton favourites because of the momentum they've got. But I noticed last season, Sunderland, who finished 3rd, and obviously, Sunderland finished 4th. Sorry, Sheffield United finished 3rd. Yeah. Sunderland finished 4th, having lost all of their last 5 games in the league.
I think nerves and pressure. We've mentioned it so many times in this show, Merv, haven't we? Plays their part. So, and I think it's the weight of a 2-legged affair. We've got to go to Hull City on Friday night. Got my tickets. I'm going to drive up there on Friday afternoon for that. And I think as we've seen and just looking back there, Merv, you've got to exclude league results. It don't matter that they won at ours and we won at theirs.
No,
this is entirely a thing all of its own now. So
it's all starting from scratch. It's a clean slate, and I think if anything counts against us slightly, perhaps people are now going to think we're favourites to win it, not just because we're finished 3rd, but we beat Hull at Hull, and I think we're a much better team than the one that lost at home to them. And Hull, I think, we're at the end of the season on a bit of a whimper. But again, it doesn't matter. What matters is 90 minutes on Friday and then the 90 minutes on Monday.
Well, big time football ahead, listeners. We'll see how this thing works out. It's interesting to look back though with you, Merv. What's your feeling? How are you going to call it? Friday night and Monday night? What do you see?
For me, I know it probably sounds a bit silly making it all rest on something like this, but for me, I think it's crucial we've got Coburn fit again and playing.
He'll play a big part.
It is a worry that we haven't got, especially against Hull because of the way they play.
Yeah.
And we can't afford to start the way we started in the league game there. When
no. We've got to be up and at it. I think it's an asset that we've got Alex Neil in charge of us. He's a well versed in the art of the playoffs.
Yeah, he's won playoffs north and south of the border 3 times.
Yeah.
And you talk about teams who were with playoff jinx. Sunderland were considered one of the unluckiest teams in the playoffs. And he got them into the championship through the playoffs. And then, of course, last year they won promotion to the Premier League through the playoffs. So they've certainly put that jinx to bed. We've got our own sort of championship playoff jinx to rid ourselves of, really. Yeah, because we're still looking for our first playoff win in the championship playoffs, which hopefully that'll be the first one to do.
See. And, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say we're good enough to get past Hull City over 2 legs.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are.
A Wembley final, well, Southampton or Middlesbrough, that's a one-off event. We'll see. But I think we should have enough in our locker to get past Hull City. Yeah,
and I think Barry Bannon will be a crucial player in this as well, because one thing that does help in playoffs is experience, and I don't think we don't have much experience through the squad of playoffs. We've got Patterson, the goalie, obviously from who won it last year with Sunderland. Yeah. Cooper's done some with us.
Ryan Leonard maybe, but you haven't got an awful lot of depth of experience in the situation.
No, so that's where the manager will come in again as well.
And manager and his team. I think you got Livermore and the Martin. Can't think of his surname. I
wouldn't be surprised if Middlesbrough beat Southampton over 2 legs, because I think it being the favourite, so heavily the favourite, can really weigh against you sometimes.
It becomes a burden on your shoulders. You know?
It wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, I mean, we should, all things being equal, we should have enough to get past Hull. I'm concerned a bit about what we're like at home.
We don't.
We finished strongly at home, didn't we? And we had a decent home record in the end.
I think we'll be at our best in playing a containment game in both legs and looking to soak it up. This is a one-off event, maybe a Gary Rowett style approach.
Oh God!
And get the result.
As long as it's not anything like the Blackburn game, we'll be. But like I said before, you just want there to be something to go for in the second leg. We want to still be in it on Monday night.
Absolutely.
Don't want any repeat of Brighton or Derby.
Merv, we're going to do Tuesday with Merv next week in the aftermath of the Friday and then the Monday night game, mate. So a big thank you for joining me this morning, and we're going to save you up to next Tuesday, listeners, for Tuesday with Merv. Until then, from Merv and myself, fingers crossed. Do stay tuned, though, listeners. I've got voicemails aplenty after these messages.
Hello?
It's 6:45 on a Saturday, just after the game. Finally on the way home. I think all TFL wanted to be against me, and decided to put every electrical power failure in the borough in my direction. But ultimately, these are the days you'll remember when you're a football fan, the long journeys home and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a good afternoon. I have to say, just quickly touching on the game, it was very disappointing how so early on, basically our afternoon turned into a bit of a nothing, really, didn't it? And I don't mean a nothing in the sense that, we didn't want to go out for the win, didn't want to secure third, but when you're pushing for that second and you're relying on other teams around you to do you a favour, and 10 minutes in, they've seemingly down tools because Ipswich have already done the job 9 minutes into the game. It does turn the game to a bit of a damp squib, but we did what we had to do. I said at half time when it was 1-0, all we need to do is win, and that's all we can do, and we did. And you can't knock Mill for that. There's been times over the years, the infamous Blackburn game, the 4-3 at home. There's been times when we've needed big results. Again, Blackburn this season. Hull again's another game where comes to mind this season, but there's games where we needed wins and we've not got them. And today was a game where, in the past, we might have lost that under other managers, but we didn't. We went out as a really good, strong, dominant performance. Yes, okay, the aerial threat from crosses and corners weren't there today, which was disappointing for the amount of times the ball went in the air. But I think we dismantled an Oxford side who are quite poor, granted, but they are a championship team, and we made them look very, very second best. So that's good confidence going into the playoffs. A little bit of rotation towards the end, obviously, to keep players fresh, but you can expect that, especially with another couple of games to go. But just on the season as a whole, I'll try and do this quickly under the famous 3 minutes that Nick Hart asked for. But as a whole, well done Millwall Football Club from top to bottom, from the team on the field to the squad as a whole, to the management, to the staff, to the people who work behind the scenes, to any volunteers who were there, to the MCC, everyone. Because this has been a memorable season for Millwall Football Club. And, you know, as a father of 3 kids, I also take my nephews to the game and everything like that. You know, there's times where kids don't want to go football and they get a bit bored and, you know, all that kind of thing, and a bit restless, especially when the football's poor over the years. But that's not been a case at all this season. And for the first time in years, it's been enjoyable going to the games and watching the games rather than just going for the social side and the atmosphere that the crowd brings. We've got a big 3 games to go, potentially 3, at least 2. Will we do it? Oh, you don't know. The Fluff's a lottery, but what a great job done by the team to have a team like Millwall, who over the years hasn't always had the budgets, but they're looking at Premier League football. 3 more games to go, dear listener, potentially, at least 2. Who knows, eh? Who knows? Come on, you lines.
Great stuff, Michael. Good to see you Saturday, mate. We had a couple of jars in the Surrey Dock Spoons, which is rapidly becoming my go-to location post-match, dear listeners. Good to see Michael and his family, Mr. Avery as well. I want to second that comment that Mike's made there about the staff at Millwall. I mean, from the top down to the bottom, I was just following, prior to doing this recording, listeners, kind words online from various places about the ticket office, and obviously they're trying to organise sales for the away leg, which is, I'm recording this on Monday, we play Friday night, so there's got to be an allocation of 2,000 plus tickets sold in very short order. We've got to move fast. Issues with the Ticketmaster website, which isn't the club's fault, but people at the club are trying to resolve stuff for people. I've just followed a reply online to somebody who posted a query on X, and they're on it, and I think it's just reflective of we've always called ourselves a family at Millwall, and I remain convinced that's true, but that can sometimes be a bit of a reason for second best service, because it's a family, you know, and all that comes with that. And I can't say that, not this season. We've become increasingly professional on and off the pitch, so well done. I second that emotion from Michael. It was a strange game Saturday. It was a frenzied atmosphere beforehand. I said to Merv earlier on in this show, it was as if we had matters in our own hands, and we needed Lady Luck to smile on us for that to be so. So I was never fully convinced that we get anything out of a Queen's Park Rangers side on the beach and propping up the bar in some far-flung sunspot. They were never going to do anything at Ipswich, not when Ipswich needed a win to secure their automatic promotion. The frenzy beforehand was great, love it, but it went down as fast as it went up once the news came through from Portman Road. I do agree that we've dismantled a poor side. Oxford weren't up to much. Incidentally, I just want to mention Idemo Imaku, who I'd stick around in the den long enough to see it, but I've seen the video that people have posted of Idemo walking around the pitch, clapping the fans and getting the applause back, and that is a terrific thing to see. I always liked Idemo. He gave 100% of what he had to give for us. Scored some good goals this season as well, and wanted first team football. I was listening to Alex Neil explain his reasons why he wanted to move. He wanted to be a first choice pick, and he couldn't be guaranteed that at the Den. So fair play to Idemo. I think everyone can understand his reasoning. It was great to see him back, and well done everyone that applauded him so warmly after the game on Saturday. Let's have another voicemail, listeners. Let's listen to Danny.
Hello, Nick. Danny here. Just a few comments after that 2-0 win. It was all over after 9 minutes, wasn't it? Ipswich going 2 up. QPR were already on the beach. I know a lot of fans moaning about that, but look at Oxford. They were on the beach. After half time, they were they had no interest in it at all, did they? I felt a little bit gutted at full time, but that quickly went away. I thought we played really well. I thought Bannon was man of the match. I thought he was brilliant today. I thought he was really good, and Aziz's taking his chances really well. We just looked really good, and we looked not of the Millwall of old where we've had to win, big games, and we don't do it. Yesterday, I thought we looked really good. Today still. It's been such a long day. I thought we looked really good, really composed, professional. And yeah, it's given me a lot of confidence going into the playoffs. I really think we'll get past Hull. And I think it'll be Southampton in the final, and that's going to be hard. But, I think we've definitely got the team to do it. So, yeah, all in all, a good day. We got the job done. Unfortunately, QPR just didn't do anything for us, but I didn't expect that anyway. But yeah, here we go. I think Friday's the first game against Hull, and see what happens. I saw at the end Alex Neil's little speech. Seemed like he was having to keep the tears back. Bless him. And I think he really gets. I think he really loves the club. Actually, I don't think he's been like that with any other club, like running down the touchline when Taylor scored at one time. I don't know. I think he's really got attached to this team, to Millwall and to this team. I think he's so proud of what these players have done. Anyway, Nick, I think I'm babbling on. So, I'm normally shitting myself for playoffs, but I actually feel all right. So, come on, you Lions. Cheers, Nick.
Cheers, Danny. Alex Neil. Nice speech. I don't know if that was planned. I think Jake Cooper was going to receive his Player of the Season award on the pitch after they cleared the kids off and all the rest of the nonsense at the end of the game. And I think Jake had to disappear. I did see a post from Max McLean saying all is okay, but he had a bit of a familial situation to deal with, so we didn't get to see Jake get presented with with his Player of the Season award. But instead, Mike Litchfield was doing the Mind Host bit out there. Did an interview with Alex Neil, which has done the rounds on the internet. So you click onto X, you'll hear it. I do agree. He seems really attached to Millwall Football Club, Danny. I think that we play our best historically under Scottish managers. You can go all kind of romantic and have the idea that we're founded by Scotsmen all those 150 odd years ago, 140 years ago. I don't entirely buy that. I just think we respond well to the gritty, no-nonsense approach that often comes with Scottish managers. They come from a hard place, tough place up there. Alex Neil comes from the west coast of Scotland, which is, it breeds... I think there's no secret that so many successful managers are Scottish. There's something in the collective spirit that you need to get through life up in those places, and it lends itself well to the blending of other people. I think the Scots generally are great. They mix wherever they are. They become part of the community, and I think that's very much, I could be overplaying it a little bit, I don't know, but I think that's very much the impression that I've picked up listening to Alex Neil speak on screen, and also the speeches Saturday at the Den post match, but also at the twice that I've seen him speak at the end of season awards, last year at Rotherhithe, this year at the Den. There is an evident love and an affinity, I think that's the word I'm searching for, listeners, that he feels with Millwall. It's a very similar kind of club to some of the clubs that he's come through in the past, up especially north of the border, and I think he is, as Danny's just said there, is extremely proud, and rightly so, of this squad of players, all of whom seem to me, well, the contacts that I've had, to be very decent kids and blokes, not kids, blokes. You know what I mean, listeners, they're younger than me. But they seem very decent as a group, and I think he responds to it well. Big thank you there to Danny. We're going to take a short break for some advertisements, if any, and then we'll come back with Matt Richards.
Achtung, Millwall.
Oh, Nick, Matt Richards here. Reflections on yesterday's game, yesterday's day. I thought it was a great day. It could have been even greater, obviously, but those wishes were extinguished quite early in the game. So there was a lot less tension and excitement than perhaps we expected or hoped for. But it was a really good day. Sun shining. Before the game, when I got to the ground, there's so many people there. Players coming in. There's loads of people waiting for like autographs and selfies and stuff like that. Loads of smiles. People just kind of soaking up the atmosphere. I think I was in a Harry's bar. Paul Eiffel was in there, which is sad. Ronnie Ball, Harry Cripps' daughters were in there. It was a real kind of like almost like pre-party atmosphere. But then you always worried about what was going to happen, and obviously we had the safety buffer of it already being in the playoffs anyway, really. So that did help. But for the game, I was just really impressed with us, really, that we just took it to them straight away. The amount of corners we had in that first half, it was amazing. And then you obviously by then it switched to 2-0 up, and you're thinking, oh, okay, let's just get a win, get some the momentum going in the team. We've been playing well recently, recent results, and that's what we did. We just took it to them. We just absolutely dominated. And I know, all right, you can moan about them being on the beach and all that sort of stuff, but you still got to do it. And I thought it was a really professional performance. The chances we had, Barrow had a couple of chances, Sturge a shot, but I thought the first goal was just a brilliant move from right down in our corner, along the wing. Great ball by Bannon, Negley, Ivanovic, and what a finish by Femi. Femi was just on fire today, wasn't he? Especially in the second half. A couple of some of these tricks down the right wing. Things were actually coming off. Sometimes he tries it and it don't come off, but it was coming off yesterday in the sunshine at the Den. And that second half as well, the goal, brilliant play by Bannon. Jinking in and out, sliding the ball into Ballo and getting that ball over, and Femi's there at the back post. And you watch Bannon's reaction when that ball goes in. He's really enjoying his time at this club, and he does care, even though he's only a so-called part-time, I guess, really. But it's brilliant. I just thought after that it was just comfortable, and we just a bit of a swagger about us yesterday, which I think is no bad thing. I think we've got a lot of confidence to go into the playoffs. Hull City, I know, obviously did a number on us at the Den, but we've got a bit of revenge there, haven't we? Because we've got Femi's red card and the red card which they didn't get as well. So I think that will spur us on, and I'm confident we'll get past them. I'm confident we'll beat them away as well as at home. Obviously McBurney's a bit of a tough player, but you just got to go for it, haven't we? Great to see that the players got a few minutes as well at the end. Smallbone, Billy, Doughty, all kind of coming on. They're going to be really important, and obviously we're really hopeful that Josh Coburn does come back. I think Caleb will be out now for the season. Looks like it. But yeah, Josh Coburn, I think we need him back really, especially for a final or whatever comes really. Great to wait at the end of the game, clap the players around the pitch. Hope Jake Cooper's family issue is okay really. It's a bit sad not to see him be able to kind of walk around the pitch really after getting player of the season, but a really, really good day really. What could have been, it wasn't, but we've still got a really good chance. So let's hold on to that. Great stuff. Great times at the Den. Cheers, Nick. Come on, you lines.
Great stuff, mate. Yeah, Josh Coburn, what an important part of our future he will be. Obviously didn't feature in the squad on Saturday, and listening to Alex Neil's post-match comments, I think the way he put it was he didn't think Josh was worth the risk given the situation that we're in. I think most people at the Den presumed that QPR would be like a chocolate teapot, and that Ipswich weren't going to fall over, in which case there's very little point in pushing a player that we will need at, if not Hull on Friday night, certainly, we hope, for the return fixture at the Den and then any Wembley final. I really like Mihailo Ivanovic. The first goal that Matt mentioned included some terrific play from Bannon, a contender for Player of the Season, Camille Negley, the way he's come on. But then also a really nice ball to spread it wide that gave Femi Aziz the chance to blast it in for that critical 1-0 start. I think once we went 1 goal ahead, then we weren't realistically going to let it relinquish, although Oxford did actually have a couple of moments in a game. But anyway, I thought the first goal was always going to be a big step, and that did include a really nice move, including a pass by Ivanovic. I think he's doing his best in the single striker role. I think he's a different kind of striker entirely to Josh Coburn, who is your traditional English bludgeon, the Paul Moody school of play, which I happen to love. I think it takes me back to the old days of Alfie Wood back in the 1970s at Cardblow Lane. It's what is in our Millwall blood, I think, listeners. So it's going to be a major loss if he's not available. Really hoping, and I don't pray, but really hoping very strongly that he's fit for Friday night, certainly, and then Monday night at the Den. Fingers crossed, dear listeners. The great to see the likes of Paul Eiffel, Richard Sadlier, and Harry Cripps' family in the Harry's Bar. I wasn't able to get in there personally, but I've seen pictures, and I know Rob Abbott caught up with them, and that's wonderful to see. It does reinforce this sense of family. There's that word again, dear listeners. Okay, we're going to play now Rob Woodford and then David Lederkramer.
Nick, what a fantastic goal to give us that all-important lead, wasn't it? Brilliant work by the tireless Ballo to win the ball back near his own goal line in front of us in Block 4. And what an impact he has made since his return to the team. Sturge picked up the ball after Ballo's superb tackle, gives it back to Ballo, who runs it down the line to Bannon, man of the match, who plays an inch-perfect pass to Negley, who plays a wonderful ball inside to Ivanovic, who turns brilliantly to let Femi in for a superb bit of trickery and then bangs it into the back of the net. A fantastic team goal involving 6 players, all from a brilliant bit of defending by our right winger on his own goal line. But once we scored the second goal, it was all pretty routine, especially the last 30 minutes or so. And even when we were taking throw-ins, the Oxford players looked very half-hearted in marking our players. And, with our gaffer sensibly rotating the squad, we saw the game out without any further injuries as well. And talking about sensible people, that bald-headed bastard who took an age to get off the pitch while he was taking selfies in the centre circle was a complete and utter wanker. You know who you are, and I'm sure he got many character assessments from the dockers as he was trying to exit stage left. But a bit of class from Idamo at full time. He didn't need to do that, but obviously he cares and is grateful for the platform Millwall gave him on his football journey. What an incredible season, Nick. I mentioned a few weeks ago now that 52 points was the highest we've ever achieved at this level, and we've topped that. I also mentioned we've never got to the playoffs since the parachute payment parasites and money bag monsters started their corrupt yo-yo existence from 2006. But we've done it with one of the smallest budgets in this league. But there may be another first to come, because we have never made it to the EFL Championship playoff final at Wembley. Now, wouldn't that be something? In the words of the chairman, let's do it. Come on, you all.
Morning, Nick. David Lederkramer here on Sunday after yesterday's 2-0 win against Oxford. It was a very strange feeling leaving the Den yesterday. We'd won, we'd played well, and yet, of course, there was that feeling of unreasonable disappointment, unreasonable in the sense that we all knew that QPR were likely to not turn up against Ipswich, and so it proved 2-0 down in 10 minutes, and really we knew our fate in terms of automatic promotion was cooked then, really. But all credit to the team. They played really well. They dominated. Oxford looked a poor side, and you could see why they'd been relegated, although I suppose they had nothing to play for. I thought that there were a couple of interesting things in the match. Certainly, Coburn not appearing even in the squad was significant. I think Alex Neil took the view that we had enough in the tank to be able to beat Oxford with the players that we had without risking Coburn. I'm sure that if there had been anything really important riding on the game in terms of outcome, we would have put him in the squad. But I think Alex Neil's a realist, and he probably knew that the chances were slim, and why risk him when we've got the playoff matches coming up. Secondly, of course, Barry Bannon was terrific, and I think he really was the man of the match. But I think we've got to be a bit wary of suggesting that he's an automatic starter for the playoffs. Playing against an Oxford team which was poor in midfield and didn't really offer anything is a very different proposition from playing against a Hull team who are energetic and have got much better players. Bannon thrives in situations where he is given time and space on the ball, as he was yesterday. And although he is a very good player, I'm not sure I would start him, and I'd probably go back to Denor and Mitchell, assuming both are fit. Ivanovic has got quite a lot of stick recently. He did make the assist, but he clearly isn't, at this stage in his career anyway, a target player. And we definitely look much better when Coburn's around. Coburn unsettles defences and can make things happen. I think one of the criticisms of Ivanovic is that he simply doesn't seem to get on the end of the Aziz crosses, some of which are fantastic. Turning to Aziz, he did have a very, very good game, and it was good to see him back to his vintage best. I thought perhaps Alex Neil would have taken him off a little bit sooner, but nonetheless, it was a terrific performance. I was also very pleased with his post-match interview, where he stressed how happy he was at the club and how much he enjoys being with this group of players. I know a lot has been made of the fact that he wanted to go to Ipswich in January. I'm not sure how true that was, but certainly his performances in recent weeks, at the very least, have shown that he wants to be with Millwall, and he's prepared to put his all into the effort. So on we go to Hull City. I think, and I hate saying this, but I think we should beat them, really. We are a better team. They've got a couple of very dangerous players. That Ollie McBurney's had a great season, and there are one or two others. But we really have nothing to fear. Yes, we got beaten by them in the home leg, but let's not forget we literally had no recognised midfielders. I think we played Doughty and Negley in midfield on that game, and Aziz got sent off. So one shouldn't read too much into that. It will be a tough game, but I think it could end up as a Wembley appearance. Anyway, enough from me. Great season, as everyone has said, and let's crack on and get those playoffs, win through the playoffs and get to the Premier League. Come on, you Lions!
Thank you, David, and thank you, Rob. Before him, Femi Aziz. I was struck by how warmly he spoke. He's a very nice bloke, Femi. I mean, I've had the pleasure of speaking to him twice. One pre-season when I managed to mess up my recording, so you'll have to take my word for what a nice bloke he is. Listeners, very intelligent guy. Second time was when Max organised that four-way interview with one of the players, which I thought was actually quite a nice way to do things, get four different approaches. And Femi was one of our guests on that, and he's an intelligent guy. He is somebody that is thoughtful, and clearly, the unsettling impact of a £20 million bid for you must play a part. He's got a young family, and to get a slice of the action and the probable Premier League wage that will come his way would have been very, very tempting. I don't think any of us would be immune to that. I know you read a lot of stuff online about people should expect lifelong loyalty and all that kind of thing. It's nice when you see it, but it is a job from a footballer's point of view. It's a profession, and it must have played a part. He seemed to go off the boil for a little while. I think as both David and others have said he's a return to form for Femi, and he's going to be a critical part of our push at the playoffs, attack the playoffs, as Alex Neil said. So that's great to see. I think he's almost certain that if we don't make it, then he will be one of our prize assets that we sell on to improve. And I think the business model that we've seen, almost builds that in. I dare say Tristan Kramer will be another one in the similar kind of mode, possibly even Camille Negley. I don't know. So we have to sell our darlings to improve. Hopefully we won't have to do that if the Wembley thing, as David's just alluded to, checks out. I've got every gypsy kind of rabbit's foot and lucky heather and invocations to the old pre-Christian pagan gods of England here, the Jack in the Green and the Herne the Hunter. I've even been talking to Herne the Hunter to get through the playoffs. So yeah, big thank you there to Dave. It is a strange day though. Just one last point that I made notes of taken, that we've been successful and yet we have a strange sense of disappointment. I think that's a very odd, rather Millwall feeling, isn't it, listeners? As for the guy at the end that Rob mentioned beforehand, I do struggle with people running on the pitch. I know that it's only kids, and I get that, but a kid's heel can dig into the turf and cause it damage. That was the specific request. Please don't do it. We've got another game, big game, to go, and yet people seem to want to do the opposite to what they're asked to do. I struggle with that, listeners. I've always struggled with it. I know it's very Millwall, and I know that we're such utter rebels that we do what we're not told to do and all that. But I thought a grown man running and with a child in arms to take selfies in front of a cold blow was a tad ridiculous. It seemed to me that if he hadn't have had the kid with him, my mind went back to 2001 when someone ran on the pitch and got chinned when they came off because the club had been quite respectfully asked people not to do it, and the guy ran off and took a clump or two. I don't think that the guy's passport on Saturday was the fact he had a baby in arms on him, but yeah, what a wally. There we are. Big thank you to everyone for the voicemails for this show. I'm going to have to do another edition because I'm at the hour mark now, nearly, and my new season's resolution is to not to try and go over the hour mark on these podcast listeners. I think an hour is probably as much as anyone wants to listen to in their car, on the train, or running, or wherever you listen to these kinds of podcasts. So I'm going to bring it to a conclusion here. Later on today, I'll be finishing off with the remainder of the voicemails that have been sent to me. So they'll probably go out, I'm going to aim for this evening. But for now, from me, Nick Hart, big thank you to everyone that's contributed. Big thank you to you too, dear listeners, for tuning. I really do appreciate it. It's on to Hull, to Hull and Back. Who did that? It was an album someone did, to Hell and Back. The Boys, to Hell and Back with the Boys. And that was, I always remember that one. It's just to Hull and Back Friday night. But do tune into our next voicemail edition, which will be coming up hopefully later today. Till then, dear listeners, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now. You can hear Achtung Millwall via all of the major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. You can even tune into us via YouTube. Ooh, Arcatin.
Who do you want to watch?